Colleagues, thank you for listening to that first statement. I now proceed to give a statement regarding the review of civil servants' salaries, both monetary and non-monetary benefits included. The government of Zimbabwe recognizes and appreciates the tireless work and unwavering commitment to duty by all civil servants across the three arms of the state, namely the executive, which is the power of government, the legislature, which is parliament, and the judiciary, including grant-aided entities, agencies, and independent commissions. To this end, government has been closely monitoring developments in the macroeconomy with a view to ensuring that exogenous shocks from adverse macroeconomic developments do not seriously erode the purchasing power of civil servants' salaries. As such, government has been reviewing the cash and non-cash benefits, or monetary and non-monetary benefits of civil servants as follows. I'll start with the executive. Just recently, the government announced that civil servants' base salaries have been increased by 100% with effect from 1 July 2022, and that negotiations are continuing through the National Joint Negotiating Committee, NJNC platform, to come up with additional salary measures for all our civil servants. In addition, serving members of the civil service have the following benefits: a housing loan guarantee scheme, that's one; 2, civil service housing loan scheme; 3, there's access to duty-free importation for single motor vehicle for personal use by any civil servant. I wanted to highlight those 3 non-mandatory benefits. Let me turn specifically to the health sector. With particular regard to the health services sector, government has reviewed with immediate effect upwards the health sector specific allowances in the following areas. 1, we've increased the on-call allowances which apply to doctors and laboratory scientists. 2, we've increased the night duty and standby or call-out allowances which apply to nurses, nurse aides, and general hands in theatre. 3, we have immediately increased the nurse managers' allowances. 4, we've increased the special health equalization factor, which applies to all eligible staff. And then 5, also we've increased the COVID and infectious disease risk allowances. In addition, the government has reviewed the non-monetary benefits for the health sector in the following ways. 1, the provision of institutional housing for health workers, starting with our big centers, namely Harare and Bulawayo, but then proceeding and expanding into the other geographical areas. 2, the provision of housing loan guarantees. 3, provision of efficient transport facilities, starting with our referral or central hospitals, including the 6th hospital, Egusileni. Addressing deficiencies in the cafeteria system and re-operationalizing this system is also another action that we are taking as government. Including, also we include the local production and sourcing of uniforms for our health sector personnel. So that's what the action we've taken immediately to give relief, but also support to our health sector employees as government. I now turn to the teachers. I've talked about monetary benefits, the 100% increase in salaries beginning 1st of July 2022. In addition, the other benefits, some of them are quasi-monetary, some of them are non-monetary. This is the restoration of the advancement awards. That's the first benefit. The 2, the payment of performance awards which had been withheld due to financial constraints in the past, which these have been restored, and these will now be processed with effect from 1st of July 2022. For this purpose, members will now be placed on their correct employment grades. 3. The repayment of school fees for up to 3 biological children per teaching family. This benefit applies to teachers, and payment will be made directly to the schools and will be up to a prescribed limit per biological child. Currently, this limit is set at $20,000 per child per term, and Treasury is ready to disburse the required amounts for the first term. 4. The provision of 34,000 housing units as institutional accommodation for teachers. To cushion teachers from the rising cost of accommodation, government has committed itself to provide 34,000 housing units within and outside school premises over a period of 5 years. Finally, the provision of transport facilities to ferry teachers of both rural and urban areas is being implemented and has already commenced. This is facilitated by existing structures under the Civil Service Bus Fund and the Rural and Urban Mass Transport Systems. I now want to highlight the security sector or cluster. Government values the critical role played by the security services in the country and in our economy. We do not have economic growth without the requisite peace. Substantial progress has been made in ensuring competitive remuneration and general improvement in the conditions of service for members of the security sector. I want to highlight the 4 areas where government is trying to make some improvements. 1, government has introduced the military salary concept and its equivalent across the entire security cluster, and that covers various categories of benefits. In addition, the government has accelerated the acquisition of operational vehicles targeting middle management within the security cluster. 3, government is also instituting immediate measures to increase access to institutional housing and transportation for serving members of the security services. 4, the security services sector also has access to housing loan guarantee schemes to enable members to purchase houses in the areas of their choice under the frameworks being finalized by the service commissions and the respective and participating financial institutions to this scheme. Let me further highlight the provision of housing loan guarantee schemes for home ownership across the entire civil service. The Public Service Commission is collaborating with the Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities, Minister of Local Government and Public Works, and Treasury to work towards the resuscitation of the housing loan guarantee facility for civil servants, under which the government will be the guarantor of housing mortgages applied for by members through the identified networks of banks. Consultations between relevant stakeholders have already begun and have been being initiated by the Public Service Commission. I also want to further highlight the payment or continued payment of the $75 COVID-19 allowance. Recognizing the significant risk factors faced by civil servants who are mostly frontline workers, government introduced the $75 per month as a COVID risk allowance. This amount is still payable in foreign currency and will continue to be paid for the foreseeable future. I now turn to the $100 cushioning allowance, which we introduced a few months ago. Recognizing the inflationary pressures faced by public sector workers in the face of adverse macroeconomic developments and the impact of dual currency pricing, government introduced a $100 per month cushioning allowance payable in foreign currency. This allowance also continues to be paid and will subsist for the foreseeable future. That was basically emoluments, monetary benefits, non-monetary benefits pertaining to the executive arm of the state or whole of government. I now turn to the legislature, which is Parliament. Parliamentarians and staff of Parliament, the Parliament of Zimbabwe, have also had various reviews implemented across both salary and non-cash benefits as follows. And this is with immediate effect. 1. Salaries have been increased by at least 100% with effect from 1 July 2022. Sitting allowances have also been similarly increased with immediate effect. Government has also introduced with immediate effect a contributory medical scheme where government will contribute 80% to the subscriptions, similar to the scheme which is in place for the rest of the civil servants. 4, government has introduced a duty-free importation allowance for a second motor vehicle for use by parliamentarians in their public service work. 5, in order to ease transport challenges for employees, government acquired buses for use by parliament staff. 6, in the spirit of leaving no one and no place behind in public engagement, government has recently introduced a constituency visit allowance to improve close relations between elected officials and their constituents and electorate. Fuel is provided to members in all constituencies, irrespective of the distance to their constituencies from the capital city. And this is also in proportion to the size of their constituencies. So the larger the constituency, the higher the fuel allocation, because there's a lot more area to cover. Finally, members of the legislature are also being paid the combined $175 per month, which comprises the $75 linked to the COVID risks, and then the $100 cushioning allowance recently introduced. Finally, I turn to the judiciary, third arm of the state. All members of the judiciary have received a salary increase of a minimum 100% with effect from 1 July 2022. In addition, an allowance that recognizes and aligns remuneration with peers in the legal profession has also been put in place. Number 2, members of the judiciary are now also benefiting from the housing loan guarantee schemes and the housing loan scheme, as well as the duty-free importation of one motor vehicle. Number 3, members of the judiciary are also being paid the combined $175 per month, comprising the COVID-19 allowance of $75 and then the plus the $100 cushioning allowance. In conclusion, colleagues, therefore, the government of Zimbabwe reiterates its commitment to pay competitive remuneration to civil servants and to all arms of the state in order to retain critical skills and derive efficient public services. Accordingly, the government will continue to assess conditions of service for all civil servants across the entire state in order to appropriately and timelessly benchmark these in line with economic developments. I thank you.